Ngakpa House is our humanitarian project that we have through Ngakpa International, which is the organization that I founded with my students. And the idea behind Ngakpa House is that we have a chance to help people who otherwise wouldn't be helped, who would otherwise be overlooked, and make this huge impact in their lives. It started through my encounter with a friend of mine, Lama Tenzin. He would find children. He was a monk, and he found children in the Dopo in these borderlands just outside India, Nepal, and Tibet, and children who would not get education, who didn't necessarily have families or medical care, and especially girls or disabled girls, that he would find them and bring them to an orphanage and educate them and help them. And over the last decade and a half, we've been working to support and help these children. And one of the really important things about it for me is that, these are kids that would otherwise not be helped because they live in the borderlands. They're outside government aid because they're not part of any official government or part of shifting boundaries. And also, too, because they're so far. It's a 25-day walk to get there, that they're really out of reach and out of sight. And so we've just had this really great opportunity to help these children. And I think it's such an important part of Buddhist practice. We receive all these teachings and this really extraordinary Buddhist intellectual tradition and this contemplative meditation path. For me, it's been this a total inspiration and playground and source of expansion of my life and refuge. And so naturally, I want to give back to the Himalayan cultures, India, Nepal, and Tibet, where these teachings came from, and make sure that the people there and their cultures, especially the most endangered ones, are sustained and cared for. And I think it's so important for Buddhist practitioners to do this. We're the recipients of such a big gift, this wish-fulfilling jewel of the Buddhist teachings and philosophy and practice and tradition and history. And that's something that happens because people sustained the tradition. Generosity made that happen. And I think we can continue that generosity in really tangible ways. And what I love about the projects that we've done with Ngakpa House is that we haven't been taking on these enormous projects, but local grassroots projects, so that $10 does make a huge impact, and $1,000 makes a huge impact, and $10,000 changes a child's life. And not only are we working to help provide for these children, but also getting to experience generosity, which is just such an amazing practice. Really, giving is the new getting. Generosity really is the path of happiness, and it's so easy to give. So that's how Ngakpa House started. Over the years, for my birthday, I was asking that to be my birthday wish, that people wanted to give me a gift. That was the gift I wanted, was these children to have education. Right now, one of the projects that we've been funding is this gift project with these disabled girls. Like, for example, one girl who's blind, and she's just left completely out of society, would never have been educated or have a future or independence, and she's been taken in and is being trained to learn music and sing and teach music so that she could have a way to support herself. And then also, as we've been doing this project, I've met other lamas, and hearing about their projects really inspired me. And so one thing that we've been doing is funding a new school in Sikkim, which also is in this border area, sometimes Tibet, sometimes outside Tibet, sometimes India, sometimes not. And the idea there is to have the children and local elders cooperate so that the children can not only be educated in a practical way and have food and lodging, but also that they would learn their cultural traditions. And that's something that large-scale efforts often overlook, are these smaller traditions that really make Tibetan Buddhism what it is. Tibetan Buddhism is not a monoculture. It is a really diverse tradition. I mean, to say Buddhism as a singular is even misleading. We have to say Tibetan Buddhisms. And so to make sure that the cultural knowledge, whether it's local medical knowledge and knowledge of the land and sustainable ways of living and religious stories and history and things that are kept only in oral culture, that if we don't ensure that these are passed on as part of the children's education, then that culture dies out. And these beautiful cultures that bring us so generously the Buddhist teachings will become something of the past. So Ngakpa House is our organization, our project that we really use to fundraise and help support people who wouldn't be helped otherwise, and to sustain these smaller traditions that otherwise would disappear and become extinct through these projects. So I hope that you'll find out more about what we're doing, or join us, or make a donation. In this case, even a small donation makes a huge difference. And now we see, over our years of working with the orphanage, 2 of the girls are going to college now in the United States, and they've learned business, they've worked in a shop, they speak 3 or 4 languages, and it's been extraordinary to see what a few people with some moments of generosity, individual bravery to be generous can do. We can change people's lives, and we can help them. I think it's so hard in our world to find opportunities like this where we can definitely help, that we know that what we will do will give benefit and it will make a decisive difference. And so I just love that about our project, Ngakpa House, and I hope you'll join us both as a contributor and a supporter, and also to lead fundraising projects. It's really just a bunch of friends and students and family and local community. All different people have gotten together over the years, and each of us giving in our own way and making it possible for us to fund all of these extraordinary activities of educating and saving these children and traditions.